Welcome back to the KenkoVibe Podcast, everybody. I'm Ethan Reed,
And I'm Grace Morgan.
and today we are diving deep into a topic that's probably on a lot of your minds.
Oh, yeah.
Finding the best protein powders out there.
Absolutely.
You know, with so many options on the market, it can feel really overwhelming trying to figure out which protein powder is right for you.
Right.
We sifted through over 100 different products for this deep dive.
We did.
So before we jump into our top picks, let's just take a step back.
Yeah.
What exactly is protein powder, and why is everyone so obsessed with it these days?
Well, simply put, protein powder is a concentrated source of protein that usually comes from plants, milk, or eggs. It's like a shortcut to getting more protein into your diet. And protein is crucial for a whole bunch of reasons. It helps build and repair your cells, aids muscle recovery after a workout, and can even help you manage your weight by keeping you feeling full and boosting your metabolism.
So it's not just for bodybuilders anymore.
Not at all. Protein powder can be a helpful tool for anyone who wants to up their protein intake, whether you're an athlete, someone trying to lose weight, or just looking to support your overall health.
All right, so let's get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
The best protein powders, according to our KenkoVibe research. And since whey protein is probably what comes to mind for most people,
Right.
let's start there. What stood out to you in this category?
Well, one of the things that's fascinating about whey protein is that it comes in a few different forms: concentrate, isolate, and hydrolysate. Whey concentrate is the most common and usually the most affordable. Isolate has lower carbs, and fat and hydrolysate is the easiest for your body to absorb quickly.
Oh, that's really helpful to know. So which whey protein powders made it to our top picks list?
One that impressed us was sports research, whey protein. It's a solid all-around choice with a good protein-to-calorie ratio, 25 grams of protein for only 140 calories. And it's informed sports certified, which means it's been rigorously tested for banned substances. This is a big deal if you're an athlete who needs to be careful about what you're putting in your body.
So that certification adds an extra layer of reassurance about the product's purity. What about the price point?
You can usually find a 32-serving container for around $40.
Not bad. And what was our second whey protein winner?
If clean ingredients are your top priority, Transparent Labs 100% grass-fed whey protein isolate is definitely worth checking out. This one packs a whopping 28 grams of protein per serving for only 130 calories. Plus, it's third-party tested and free of artificial ingredients, which a lot of people look for these days. They even offer a wide variety of flavors. 15, to be exact.
15 flavors. That's impressive. Any idea on the cost for this one?
A 30-serving container will typically run you around $55.
Okay, so it's a bit pricier than the sports research option, but you're getting that extra peace of mind with the clean ingredients and rigorous testing. It's all about weighing your priorities. Now let's move on to something completely different. Plant-based protein powders. These are gaining popularity, especially for people who are vegan, lactose intolerant, or just want to explore non-dairy options. What were some of the standout plant-based powders we found?
One that really caught our attention was cassava. It's marketed as a whole-body meal replacement, so it's not just a straight protein powder. You get 25 grams of plant-based protein from sources like peas, brown rice, and quinoa, but it also has higher calories and carbs, around 240 calories and 25 grams of carbs per serving.
So it's more like a meal shake than a pure protein pert. What about the price for cassava?
A 15-serving bag will cost you around $60.
Interesting. So it's a bit of an investment, but it sounds like you're getting a lot more than just protein. What other plant-based protein powder impressed us?
We also like Promix vegan protein powder for its simplicity and clean ingredients. It's made solely from yellow peas, raw cacao, monk fruit, and cocoa. With 25 grams of protein per serving and a relatively low calorie count at 130, it's a good option if you're looking for a plant-based protein boost that's not too heavy.
And the cost.
A 20-serving container costs around $45.
Right, so we've covered whey and plant-based protein powders. But there's another type we should talk about, casein protein. What's the deal with casein?
Casein is another milk-derived protein, but unlike whey, it digests more slowly. This makes it great for nighttime use or between meals because it helps keep you feeling full for longer. Think of it as a slow and steady release of protein.
That makes sense. So which casein protein powders stood out in our research?
Our top pick for casein is Legion Athletics Casein Plus. It's all-natural, third-party tested, and has a great protein-to-calorie ratio. 25 grams of protein and just 110 calories per serving. Plus, it's free of artificial sweeteners, flavors, and colors, which is always a plus.
Sounds like a winner. How much does this one cost?
You can usually find a 28-serving container for around $40.
Okay, so far we've covered three main types of protein powders, whey plant-based and casein, and highlighted some of our top picks in each category. But our research uncovered a few other protein powders that are worth mentioning. These are kind of like the hidden gems or honorable mentions. What's the first one on our list?
One that we found to be surprisingly budget-friendly is Jacked Factory Authentic ISO. You get 25 grams of protein per serving for a really reasonable price. However, it does contain artificial sweetener and isn't third-party tested, so those are things to consider.
So it might be a good option if you're on a tight budget,
Yeah.
but maybe not the absolute cleanest choice. What's the price on this one?
You can usually snag a 30-serving container for around $30.
Wow, that is definitely budget friendly.
Yeah.
What else is on our list of hidden gems?
Another one that caught our eye was NutriCost grass-fed whey protein isolate. It consistently gets high ratings on Amazon and people rave about its taste. It's also well priced. The one thing to note is that it uses artificial sweeteners, which some people prefer to avoid.
So great taste and price, but not as squeaky clean as some of the other options. What's the cost for NutriCost?
A 30-serving container will typically cost you around $35.
Okay, so still pretty budget friendly.
Yeah.
What else do we have on our list?
For those who prefer a simpler approach, there's ProMix grass-fed whey. This one is all about minimalist ingredients, just a few natural ingredients, and it's third-party tested for purity. It's a great option if you're looking for a whey protein without a lot of bells and whistles.
I like that. Back to basics. And how much does this one cost?
A 25-serving container is usually around $40.
Got it. Anything else on our honorable mentions list?
Last but not least, we have to mention naked grass-fed whey. This one is a real standout because it's unflavored. It's literally just pure whey protein concentrate from grass-fed cows. That makes it perfect for adding to smoothies or other recipes without altering the taste.
I can see how that would be appealing for people who are sensitive to artificial flavors or just want complete control over what they're adding to their food. What's the price for naked grass-fed whey?
You can typically find a 30-serving container for around $45.
All right, Grace, we've covered a lot of ground here. Whey, plant-based casein, and even some bonus picks. Before we move on, what's the key takeaway you want our listeners to remember when it comes to choosing a protein powder?
I think the most important thing is that there really is a protein powder out there for everyone. It all comes down to your priorities. Whether you're focused on clean ingredients, budget friendliness, specific dietary needs, or just finding a flavor you love, there's an option out there that's perfect for you.
Well said. And now that we've explored the world of protein powders, let's switch gears and talk about some natural protein sources you can incorporate into your diet. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to KenkoVibe Podcast. You know, getting enough protein doesn't have to mean relying solely on those tubs of powder.
You're absolutely right. There are tons of delicious and natural protein sources out there that you can easily add to your meals and snacks.
What's fascinating here is that these whole food sources often come with additional benefits, like vitamins, minerals, and fiber, which you might not get from a protein powder alone.
Exactly. So let's talk about some of these protein powerhouses that nature has to offer. Where should we start?
Well, we could start with the classics. Lean meats. Chicken, turkey, and fish are all fantastic sources of high-quality protein, and they're relatively low in fat, plus they're incredibly versatile. You can grill them, bake them, roast them, you name it.
I love a good grilled chicken breast or a salmon fillet. They're so simple to prepare and they taste amazing. What other animal-based protein sources should we highlight?
Eggs are another great option. They're super affordable and pack around 6 grams of protein per egg, along with essential nutrients like choline, which is important for brain health.
Plus, eggs are incredibly versatile. You can have them for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. What about dairy products? Are there any that are particularly high in protein?
Oh, absolutely. Greek yogurt is a real protein powerhouse with around 20 grams per serving. It's also a good source of calcium and probiotics, which are beneficial for gut health.
I'm a huge fan of Greek yogurt. You can add it to smoothies, use it as a base for dips and sauces, or just enjoy it on its own with some fruit and granola. What other dairy products are good sources of protein?
Cottage cheese is another one that's often overlooked. It's relatively low in calories and fat, but it still delivers a good amount of protein.
Now let's switch gears and talk about plant-based protein sources. What are some standouts for our vegan and vegetarian listeners?
Legumes are a fantastic place to start. We're talking lentils, chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans. They're all packed with protein and fiber, which makes them incredibly satisfying and filling.
Lentils are one of my go-to ingredients for a hearty and flavorful soup or stew. And chickpeas are so versatile, you can make hummus, add them to salads, or roast them for a crunchy snack. What other plant-based protein sources should we mention?
Nuts and seeds are another excellent source of protein, and they come with the bonus of healthy fats. Almonds, cashews, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. They're all great options for snacking, adding to trail mixes, or incorporating into recipes.
I love adding a handful of almonds or walnuts to my yogurt in the morning. It adds a nice crunch and keeps me feeling full until lunchtime.
Yeah.
What about grains? Are there any that are particularly high in protein?
While grains are generally lower in protein compared to some of the other sources we've discussed, there are a few exceptions. Quinoa, for example, is considered a complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids.
That's awesome. I love quinoa. You can use it as a base for grain bowls, salads, or even as a side dish instead of rice or pasta. Any other protein-rich grains we should mention?
Amaranth and buckwheat are also good options. They're not technically grains, they're actually seeds, but they're often used in similar ways.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from lean meats and eggs to legumes, nuts, and even some protein-packed grains. It seems like there are plenty of ways to get protein from natural sources.
Exactly. And remember, these whole food sources often come with a whole host of other nutrients that are beneficial for your health.
Okay, before we wrap up this deep dive, there's one more protein source we haven't touched on yet, and it's one that's been generating a lot of buzz lately. Clear whey protein isolates.
Ah, yes. Those are fascinating. Clear whey protein isolates are basically a hydrolyzed form of whey protein, meaning they've been processed to be more easily absorbed by your body.
And they come in these fun, fruity flavors that taste more like juice than a traditional milky protein shake, right?
That's right. They've become really popular with people who find regular protein shakes too heavy or who prefer a lighter, more refreshing option. And they're often lower in calories and carbs, which can be a bonus for people watching their weight.
Okay, so are these clear whey protein isolates worth the hype? Are they a good choice for weight loss?
Well, they certainly can be. Like we said, they're often lower in calories and carbs, which can help with weight management. And because they're hydrolyzed, they're digested and absorbed quickly, providing your muscles with a rapid influx of amino acids for recovery and growth.
Sounds promising. But are there any downsides we should be aware of?
As with any protein powder, it's important to check the ingredient list and make sure it aligns with your dietary preferences. Some brands might use artificial sweeteners, flavors, or colors, so if you're looking for a cleaner option, you'll want to read the label carefully.
Good point. So what's our final verdict on clear whey protein isolates? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I'd say thumbs up, but with a caveat. They can be a great option for people who prefer a lighter, more refreshing protein drink and who are mindful of calories and carbs, but always do your research and make sure the ingredients fit your needs.
Great advice. Well, it looks like we've explored just about every corner of the protein world today. We've covered protein powders, natural protein sources, and even the trendy clear whey protein isolates. But before we wrap up, we have one final thought to leave you with. So we've talked a lot about, different types of protein and where to find them.
Right.
But what about the when? How important is the timing of our protein intake?
Yeah.
There's this whole anabolic window idea that gets thrown around in the fitness world.
Right. The anabolic window is this concept that you need to chug a protein shake within a specific time frame after your workout to maximize muscle growth.
Exactly.
But is there any truth to that?
That's a great question. It's one of those things you hear a lot, but it's hard to know what to believe.
Well, the science is a bit nuanced on this one. For most people, the exact timing of your protein intake isn't as critical as some might think. What matters most is your overall protein consumption throughout the day.
So as long as I'm hitting my daily protein goals,
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter if I have my protein shake before, during, or after my workout.
exactly. However, for those who are engaged in really intense training regimens like competitive athletes or bodybuilders,
Okay.
there might be a slight benefit to consuming protein within a couple of hours after their workout.
Interesting. So it's not a hard and fast rule, but more of a fine-tuning strategy
Yeah.
for those really pushing their bodies to the limit.
Exactly. And speaking of pushing limits, let's touch on another important consideration, the potential downsides of consuming too much protein.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
We've been highlighting all the benefits of protein,
Right.
but is there such a thing as too much of a good thing?
There can be. While protein is essential for our bodies, excessive intake can put a strain on your kidneys and could lead to other health issues down the line.
So how much is too much? How can our listeners make sure they're staying within a healthy range?
The recommended daily intake of protein varies depending on a few factors like your age, activity level, and individual health goals. But a good general rule of thumb for most adults is to aim for around 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, or about 0.36 grams per pound.
That's a helpful starting point.
Yeah,
But as always, it's best to chat with a healthcare professional or a registered dietitian
absolutely.
to figure out your specific protein needs.
Yeah, and remember, the best way to meet your protein needs is through a balanced diet that's rich in those whole food sources that we talked about earlier. Protein powder can be a helpful supplement, but it shouldn't be a replacement for real food.
Couldn't agree more. Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about protein today, from the different types and their benefits to natural protein sources, and even some important considerations like timing and potential risks.
We've certainly given our listeners a lot to digest.
Pun intended.
Pun intended.
But as always, we encourage you to do your own research experiment with different options and find what works best for you. And remember, a healthy lifestyle is all about balance and finding a routine you can stick with long term.
Well said. And on that note, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us on this deep dive into the world of protein. We hope you found it informative, insightful, and maybe even a little bit entertaining.
Until next time, stay curious, stay healthy, and keep those protein levels in check.